In every organization, there seems to be one department that is the base of all headache and drama: human resources. Okay, I actually wasn't sure if I was going to make this video because I've seen so many things on YouTube about people just hating human resources, and I get it. But I also was kind of wondering, why does no one talk about why HR actually exists and how you can take advantage of them to move your career forward? So that's what I wanted to talk about. I'm going to talk about why HR is the organizational villain. I'm going to talk about what does human resources actually do? And then we're going to talk about how can you actually use human resources to advance your career. Human resources is viewed as the organizational villain, and it's not hard to see why. A lot of employees look at human resources as the people who cover the backs of the executives who are trying to take advantage of them. And in a sense, human resources is involved in a lot of very sensitive and oftentimes life-changing things that affect every single employee within the organization. It could be you specifically, or it could be your best friend who you're working with. Human resources has a very difficult job of balancing their own function and the livelihoods of the people that they're supposed to be representing. And because of this, because they're so involved in the sensitive nuances of people's livelihoods, they're oftentimes seen as the bad guy, or the person that people don't like to go to because they're seen as the one who's going to tell the boss. All of the stuff that I've seen on YouTube is treating human resources like a faceless entity of people who don't have a soul. So let's stop thinking about them as organizational villains, and let's talk about what human resources actually does. Okay, so let's talk about it. What does human resources actually do? There's two main goals. One, they want to create a safe workplace for everybody involved. And number two, they need to make sure that they're staying compliant with rules and regulations set by federal entities, governmental entities, and they need to make sure that they're staying compliant with organizational rules as well. Now notice, I didn't say that HR is responsible for creating a happy workplace where everyone gets along. At the end of the day, they're making sure that the company doesn't get sued for some issues that happen at the employee level. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, I've worked with an HR department that doesn't do that or doesn't do that effectively. And while I understand, because I have been there, not every HR department is good at ensuring that they're within compliance and laws and regulations, but that is what they're supposed to do. At the end of the day, HR is supposed to make sure that the organization doesn't get sued for one of the many, many, many laws and regulations that the organization needs to comply with. And a lot of organizations make sure that HR is also responsible for things like hiring, benefits, or being a mediator between two employees who are having a bad time. All of that aside, I understand that you probably think that HR is out to get you, but I promise you they're just making sure that the organization doesn't get sued. Okay, with all of that, how can you use HR? How can you use human resources to get ahead in your role? I have 5 different ways that you can interact with human resources, no matter what level, no matter what organization you're in, no matter what type of role that you have. These 5 things are going to be very helpful for you to advance your career and use human resources as a means of doing that. The first is providing career growth recommendations. If you are looking to advance your career or move forward in different ways, human resources is a really great place to start. Some places, some organizations have human resources representatives that you can go to who actually are a great sounding board for career growth opportunities. So you can go to those human resources people and say, hey, I'm interested in advancing my career in these different ways, whether it be an upward title, whether it be adding more responsibilities, whether it be wanting to take on a challenge that you haven't done before. Career growth recommendations, they aren't always going to be able to give you everything that you want, but they can point you in the direction of who you need to talk to in order to make your own career goals happen. The second thing that human resources is really great with is giving you resources for health and wellness. A lot of times, human resources is the organizational function that manages health and well-being programs, whether it be mental health benefits or just wellness benefits in general. I've worked within a lot of organizations who actually give employees some sort of stipend or things that they can do for gym memberships, new shoes, workout equipment, Apple Watches, whatever you want to do. But human resources is a really great function to talk to if you're looking for more information on wellness and or health and mental health, physical health. If you're looking for information on that, human resources is usually a really good place to go. The third thing that you can do with HR is ask them about continuing education opportunities. Whether you're looking to take classes on the side or you're working to get your full-time degree while working full-time, Human Resources has a lot of really great information about continuing education. And it is the case that some organizations don't have a ton of continuing education incentives, so you can't always get money from HR, but sometimes you can get free courses, free classes if you work with HR. The other thing that you can do if you work with Human Resources is actually get some of your money back for the tuition that you were paying. And the fifth thing that you can do with HR, believe it or not, is use them to protect yourself from harassment. If you are feeling harassed or in any instance violated by a fellow employee or let's say a supervisor, HR is the first point of contact. Their goal, as we talked about before, is to make sure that the company doesn't get sued. So if you can go in with a specific complaint and say, this is the issue that I'm facing and the company is liable for this, HR is going to jump on it right away. So if you feel like you're being harassed or if you feel like there's some tension in your organization caused by some level of harassment, HR is a really good person to go to. What is HR responsible for in your organization? Have they been beneficial to you or have they not been beneficial? Let me know in the comments below.